Hello, everyone. Today, we're going to look at one of the most amazing games of chess that ever happened. And it was played by one of my favorite players, Mikhail Tal. Those of you who don't know who Tal was a world champion. He was only a world champion for 1 year. He defeated Botvinnik and then lost to him in a rematch a year later because of poor health. But Tal remained one of the best players in the world for a couple of decades. Tal was, many people believe, I might be one of them. Tal was the best attacking player of all time. Tal um, had nickname. Usually, nicknames happen in basketball, happen in baseball sometimes. You don't usually see many chess players have a nickname. Tal was the magician because what he did on the chessboard, of course, was magic. Um, and we're going to look at probably my favorite game of his. And one of the reasons why I like it is because Tal's opponent tried to play in a very similar, crazy attacking style. So let's look at it. Tal with the white pieces. He's playing against Jack Miller. E4, E5. Normal opening, knight f3, knight c6. Bishop c4, knight f6. Several moves are possible here. A knight g5, for example, attacking this pawn is possible. But Tal plays d4, just immediately challenging the center. Black supports his center with d6. Tal takes, and here black goes slightly wrong with knight takes e4. And here white has a way to win a little bit of material already. So I'm going to let you pause your videos and try to figure out what white should do. If you set queen d5, um, if you set queen d5, which is a very natural move, it actually doesn't work very well because black has bishop e6, and after you grab the knight, um, black has this move, win material back. However, if we go back, there is a slightly better version of this, which is bishop takes f7 right away, which is what Tal plays. After black takes the bishop, now white does have this fork, and he ends up picking up material. Um, so black blocks with the bishop, Tal takes the knight. Um, let's see what happened next. Um, Black tries to get all his pieces into the game. Bishop e7, Tal castles. Black plays d5, attacking the queen. The queen drops back, and black plays queen d7, which makes a lot of sense. He's connecting his rooks. Now he has two options. Either he'll play rook f8 and bring the king back here. It looks like he castled. Or he's going to bring this rook here and keep the king in the middle, where he looks fairly safe for now. Tal responds in a natural way. He brings in another piece, rook e1, supporting the pawn. Black continues with his plan, rook f8. Tal develops another piece, knight c3, and black plays king e8, opening up this rook. All very, very natural. And now Tal plays knight g5. Knight g5 has a very simple threat of attacking this bishop. The point is this pawn is double attacked. It's also double defended. So Tal wants to get rid of one of the defenders and then take on c5. It also looks like Tal is threatening this pawn, but that's not going to be very fun for white. Let's pretend black just ignores everything and white takes this pawn. This becomes very scary, and there is an important lesson. If you get your piece too far into your opponent's position, make sure it can find its way out. Black has a very nice move now, rook f5, which blocks the queen from defending the knight, which stops the knight from coming back. Um, and white really, really does not want to play a move like this. We defend the knight, which walks into this spin, walks into this discovery. This is just not going to be very fun. Some of you might ask, why not bishop f5? It looks like a fork. Well, the problem with bishop f5 is white can take this rook, and when black takes the white takes the black queen. That's not fun. So, but black, after knight g5, instead of defending or dealing with this threat, says, I have my own threat. Obviously, this with a fork. Okay, and Tal went for this, which is not great. He took the bishop. Black took the pawn on f2 with check. The king moved. Black grabbed the rook. White took the black rook on f8, and black took back. And after all these trades took place, I have a Facebook notification. Um, and after all this trades took place, white is not up a pawn anymore. Um, so it did not work out for Tal. At first, it looks like Tal can grab this pawn, but of course he cannot. Pause the video and figure out why. Well, the reason is very simple. If white takes, he's not covering this square and he gets checkmated. For the same reason he cannot take with the queen here, he also gets checkmated. And there is another question, can he take here with the knight? Pause your videos and figure this out, please. And the answer is, if white grabs the pawn, black can actually take the knight, because white queen, once again, is stuck to this square. So white's move, white plays bishop g5, developing the bishop to an active square and open up this rook, very nice move. Black responds with his own threat, attacking the queen. Now remember, the queen is kind of attached to this square because he does not want to get checkmated. So white drops the queen back, queen e2. That's the only way to keep this square covered. Of course, this is not safe. Here, the queen will just get captured and mate will follow. And so queen e2 is the only thing. And here, black tries to play in the style of Tal. He takes the pawn, attacking the rook, and once again taking advantage of the fact that Tal cannot take here because of the checkmate. So most people in this position would probably take the bishop and just be happy with it. But Tal decided to play very creatively. He first attacks the queen, and the queen actually cannot take because although when white takes, he doesn't cover the square, this is actually a check, and not just a check, it's actually checkmate. So white checkmates first. So black does not get to have his fun. So that means the queen has to move, queen d6, and Tal attacks the queen again. And this queen has to be very careful. If it goes here, which looks like a reasonable move, defending this bishop, attacking the pawn, white actually has a really nice move. It's a really weird looking checkmate because the king is in check and the pawn and the bishop are doing a very good job covering all the squares. So now black has to keep covering the pawn, and this results in my favorite position in all of chess. Black plays queen e5, which is absolutely amazing. I absolutely love this position. We have two queens, they're both free. White can take black, there is nothing defending this queen. Black queen can take the white queen, because nothing defends the white queen either. However, white actually cannot take the queen because black checkmates. But the other interesting thing, black cannot take the white queen because the white checkmates. So these are the kind of positions which make you love chess. Um, it's they're rare and they're in, enormously wonderful. Um, so what happens next in this crazy position? Well, Tal obviously realized he cannot take the queen because of mate, so he plays pawn h4. And the reason he plays pawn h4, although the queen was not threatening this move, the queen was actually threatening to take the bishop. Because once the bishop is taken, this is not a checkmate. So, white plays h4, he defends the bishop, but he also gives his king an escape square. Because now uh, there is not going to be checkmate, so white can actually take this queen, so the queen needs to move. And remember, the queen needs to keep covering this square. So black plays queen g3, which of course not only stays on this diagonal, but it also has a very dangerous threat. Pause your video and try to figure out what the threat is. And the threat is the very, very dangerous rook f2, which attacks the queen, threatens checkmate. And remember, if the queen moves, well, it doesn't have a lot of squares, actually. But in addition, if the queen doesn't cover this square, there is also going to be a checkmate here. And most people would panic here and automatically try to figure out how to deal with black's threat. But Tal said, well, my threats are better than your threats. He brings his last piece into the game, rook d1. What's going on? Well, let's see. Black plays his threat, rook f2, attacking the queen, threatening checkmate here. And Tal sacrifices his queen. Beautiful move. Now black has to be careful how to take back. His queen still needs to be attached to the pawn. If he takes with the queen, white can take this pawn. It's not a checkmate because the king can move here. But now we have a check, and this king has two options. If he goes here, he actually gets mated immediately. And if he chooses the other square, white makes a queen. Black has no choice but to block. And if we count material, white is up a full rook. So let's go back. This means that black has to take with the bishop. And now we see the point of Tal's move. Rook d1 takes on d5, threatening checkmate. And that's not an easy checkmate to stop. Um, Black chose the move which um, at least gets some material back. He took on h4 with check, attacking this bishop, which is playing a key role in setting up the mating net. Um, White ended up taking. Um, black Black took back. White takes the pawn, and this game went on for another 10 moves or so. But Tal here is up quite a bit of material. This knight is nowhere to be found. This pawn is amazing, and Tal went on to win in about 10 moves. Um, Actually, for instructive purposes, let's really quickly look at the point. Let's really quickly look at how Tal Tal won this game because it's actually it's not as entertaining, but it's quite instructive because a lot of the time we get into win positions and we're not sure how to win them. So after knight takes c7, black plays here, and white has a simple plan of trying to queen this pawn, which Tal did not realize right away. He checked the king, black blocked, and then he realized that his rook belongs here after all, because his plan should be something like rook here, and push the pawn, which he did not do right away. But we are going to forgive him because this game was a part of a um, a simultaneous exhibition is when you play against a number of people at the same time. So after rook d5, black knight should probably start heading back because this pawn is quite threatening. A5 is a very, very slow move. Rook d7, Tal is continuing his plan. The knight starts to head back, but he's a bit too late. Rook f7 check, uh, king g8, and here we can already push the pawn. And if black takes, white will queen, and so black would have to give up the bishop. But Tal comes up with an even better solution. He takes the bishop right away, because if black takes back, we just run our pawn up. Black played on for another move. Tal saved his rook. Black played another move, and only after e7 did black finally throw in the towel and resign. But to get back at about 15 moves or so, it is the positions like this which make you love chess, which make you want to play chess. Um, the position where you have two queens, both of them free, not defended by anything, and neither can be taken. Um, and this is why Tal, people believed, was considered was considered to be a magician because positions like this are just magic. I hope you enjoyed this video and more instructive and entertaining material will appear soon. Thank you. Please subscribe.